Ford have a very competitive van range, and it's just been added to that with the all-new Ford Transit Connect. This van is based on the Volkswagen Caddy, and it sits between the Courier, which I've already reviewed, and also the Custom, another van I've reviewed here. Today we're going to be focusing on the Transit Connect. Now, the Transit Connect Tourneo, which is the passenger car version, has already been out for a couple of years now based on the Caddy, but they've also brought out the van version of it. Keep watching then for a full overview of the Connect, see how it compares to the Courier as well, how it performs. That's smooth and nippy actually. What the interior's like, cover that. It's a Golf, almost. What space it offers, and seeing how good it is as an overall package. That sounds good, keep watching, and I'll give you a full overview of the new Transit Connect. To start off with, I want to say a huge thanks, as always, to Pi Motors, Ford and Kendall for making this video possible, allowing me to take both of these out for a drive and giving them a full overview. If you want to know more about this van or about any Ford products, check out their links in the description down below and they'll be more than happy to help. Thank you to Dan Park, the sales manager, and also to Luke. This is the base trend model on the normal van, and it's the L2, so the longer wheelbase model. That gives you 3.7 meters squared of space rather than 3.1 on the short wheelbase. That is also the Grand Tourneo. So this is the trend, and that is the titanium, which is a higher spec. All prices I'm going to mention in this video are excluding VAT. That's how Ford work all their commercial vehicles. Usually for a van, there's a lot of colours to go for on the Connect. There's a whopping 10 different options to choose from, which is really impressive, and there's some really fun ones as well. As standard, you get this solid frozen white, just a standard white van. There is a couple of cheaper options, which are £150 optional extras. That's this Comet Grey. This is £150. You can also go for the Lava Red. That is also £150. And then there's a choice of 7 different metallic paintwork options. So they are the Maple Red, which is like a dark red metallic. Quite interesting, if a bit old-fashioned, but it looks quite nice. My favourite is the Boundless Blue. I think that looks excellent. You've got the Ink Black, you've got Midnight Blue, you've got Stardust Silver, Dusky Silver, which looks quite nice. It's got kind of like a browny beigey hint to it, a bit different. And you do also have the Graphite Grey, which is a dark grey metallic, which I prefer to this solid one. This is basically Volkswagen Pure Grey. It's just a flat, very dull, boring grey. I'd prefer white to going for the grey. The white is standard that you see on this Tourneo model, but there's some really nice colours to choose from. I really like the Boundless Blue. It would have been really nice to see the greeny gold colour that you get on the Caddy. I really like that colour, but unfortunately we don't get that on the Connect. This is built alongside the Caddy in their factory in Poland, by the way, so they're all on the same production line, but this offers a lot more value for money, which we'll get into in a little bit. As this is the L2 model, you do get the twin sliding doors, so a sliding door on each side as standard, which is great, and the bigger lower capacity, of course, as it's a longer van. You'll notice down the side of the van, it looks very like the Caddy, and that is because it is. Basically, the front and the rear have slight tweaks, especially the front, to make it more Ford-like. Other than that though, all the creases and everything like that are just the same as the Caddy. The noticeable differences are really the wheels and the front. I'll move on to the wheels now. Wheels on the Connect van are all 17 inches regardless of trim. They start with these 17-inch steel wheels on this trend model. Going up to the Limited, you get 17-inch alloy wheels, which look a lot better and much smarter look. And going up to the Active model, which is exclusive to the Flex Cab L2, so the long wheelbase Flex Cab model, you get these 17-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, which are my favourite out of the bunch. But the Limited is probably the best value for money if you want a few features on it. If you're fine with having quite a standard van that just needs to be a workhorse, the Trend model, which we've got here, is actually quite a good spec. It has front and rear sensors on it. It has quite a few different features. You've still got the electronic handbrake, quite a comfortable seat. So still a good option, but I think I like to have a few more luxuries on the van. So I'd go for the Limited model, but 3 choices of wheels. You can't opt for any extras, unfortunately, like you can on the Caddy. You just get what you're given on each trim, essentially. And to the back of the Connect van, you've got these lights, which are really nice. These are not LEDs. You do have to opt for them. They're £150, which is very reasonable. Now you have a split tailgate on the van, and you have a proper hatch style on the Tourneo. But I think this is actually more practical, as a lot of people have mentioned. On the Tourneo, it does open very big. It's like another half the van length again. You'll see what I mean about the tailgate on this van. It opens quite far back, which is good for shelter actually on a day like this, and you have a really good handle to pull down as well, but probably better to have the split doors. As you can see though, absolute massive amount of space, over 1700 litres with the seats flat. It's huge. So this is more practical. Now this is how they are. They're not ply lined as standard or lined with anything, so you can opt for that and it's a very affordable option, but this is how they come. If you do want windows in the rear, it's £200 plus VAT, and you need to get the different bulkhead as well. The payload is actually very similar to the Courier. Even though this is bigger than the Courier, it can carry about the same in terms of weight, but you have a lot more space. So if you're not carrying heavy things, but you need the space, then this is good. And it's still a good payload. You know, you can still get a quad in the back of here and a few extra bits and bobs, motorbikes or what have you. So that is still decent enough. You can also get windows in the side, which is actually quite reasonably priced as well. To get these doors glazed on the L2 model like this one, it's £150, and to get it on the short wheelbase, it's £650, because that adds the dual sliding doors on the short wheelbase. If you just want the dual sliding doors like a normal panel van, you're going to have to go for the long wheelbase, and that comes as standard on that. You have this nice little step here as well to get out, and then you've got your tie down hooks everywhere around. The actual capacity of the load area ranges from 2.5 metres squared to 3.7 metres squared. This is the biggest length with 3.7 metres squared. If you get the flex cab, which includes the movable bulkhead with up to 5 seats, that takes it down on the short wheelbase to 2.5 metres squared, and on the long wheelbase is 3.1 metres squared. The normal short wheelbase non-flex cab with 2 seats is also 3.1 metres squared. So the long wheelbase flex cab could be a very popular option because it still gives enough space for a standard size pallet when all 5 seats are in place, and you can push them away when you don't need them. Really clever innovation that, and that one, if you do want the active trim, that's the only body style configuration you can have the active with. Of course, a 2-seat normal van is probably going to be the most popular option though on this one. And the back seat space in the Connect, how is it? There you got that slidey door, very plastic fantastic, that's fine. Surprisingly, they're not on sliders. I thought they would be, so you could slide forward and back, but they're not. They've still got quite a bit of leg room though. Masses of headroom, which is great. No centre armrest, unfortunately. Isofix points are nicely hidden out the way. Middle seat, very comfortable. Really comfortable. So that is actually an upside of not having an armrest. This is a very comfortable middle seat, so you could actually have 3 adults in the back of here very comfortably. So that's really great. It's quite wide. And then we also have these lovely tray tables as well, which my dad had in his Tiguan. This one's just got a hole, not a pull-out cup holder, but really good. So kids can watch their iPads or have the Mackies on here, which is great. It's got a rear view mirror, which I find quite amusing because this has got the bulkhead, it doesn't have the rear window option. However, the rear window option is very affordable. This van that I'm driving today is the standard model, standard engine. So it's got 101 brake horsepower and it's a 2-litre TDI with the 6-speed manual on this one. Let's have a look under the bonnet to see what powers the Connect van. And you have a choice of 3 engines in this department. So this is the standard engine, 102 PS, 2-litre turbocharged diesel TDI engine. Clearly it's Volkswagen. It may be listed as an Eco Blue engine, but it is fully Volkswagen engine. So it gives 101 brake horsepower and it's plenty nippy enough. It's quite torquey as well, as you'd expect from a diesel, and really smooth and quiet as well, which I really like. It's definitely quieter than the 1.5 Eco Blue from Ford. You can also get a higher output model of this with 122 PS or 120 brake horsepower with the 7-speed dual clutch DSG automatic transmission. So that's another option that you can go for. And last but not least is the 1.5 plug-in hybrid model of the Connect. So it has the 1.5 TSI from Volkswagen, like the e-hybrid Caddy, which we're not seeing in the UK yet. So this is where this is ahead of the Caddy, if you like. If you want just a normal petrol Connect, you can't get one at the moment. You just have to go for a Caddy Caddy. However, plug-in hybrid, they don't have that on the Caddy at the moment in the UK. You'd have to go for the Connect, which is actually quite a nice USP. It's got a 6-speed dual clutch automatic DSG gearbox and 150 PS altogether, which is really good. 350 Newton meters of torque. Should be really nice. And get this, it's got a WLTP range of 72 miles. That's excellent. That means soon it should be added to the list of vehicles which can receive up to 2,500 government grant, which is really nice. That should be really good, helping towards the payment or helping towards the list price of the van. The plug-in hybrid starts at around £30,000 plus VAT, and it can be had in all body styles and all trims, which is really great. It's the same as what we've seen on the new Golf. They've all got really high range now with the Passat, the Tiguan, the Golf. They're all doing very well with their plug-in hybrids. So great to see this, and they're always very smooth as well, the Volkswagen plug-in hybrids. I'd love to drive that. Let me know if you want to see a review of the plug-in one, and I'll see if I can do that if one arrives. So put that in the comments down below. But that's a really great range. Now you can have this with a 6-speed manual or with the 7-speed dual clutch automatic DSG gearbox. Even though this isn't a leather wrapped steering wheel, it feels very nice considering it's a plastic one. A lot of plastic wheels feel really nasty and horrible, but this feels really good quality, nice to feel. It doesn't feel like it's going to irritate your hands. As I say, I think leather's better, but this is nice and chunky, and it's not like that brittle plastic feeling or that really, sometimes it's really rough. I know it sounds so pathetic, but it can like make your hands really irritated or sweaty, but this is really not bad at all and a nice feeling. It's so weird having the rear view mirror and literally just seeing black out the back, but I guess it's good. You don't need to install one if you decide to go for a window in the future. You have big door mirrors though, so you can see right behind you, which is great. Official miles per gallon combined on this model is 51.4 miles per gallon. This has got a lot of torque. You get a really good view out as well, as you would expect with a van. If I put my foot down, pretty good. Pulls well. It's asking me to go into 5th gear, but I'm in 6th and it's pulling fine. I really like the electronic handbrake. I think that's a really great feature on the vehicle. Unlike a lot of vans now, it's very car-like to drive. You still hear that noise from the van. Whoa, that's smooth and nippy actually. I know I'm going downhill, but that was really good. The gearbox is nice and slick as well, but obviously it is the Volkswagen transmission, just with the little forward gear knob at the top. Basically, that's all it is. I like this gear stick a lot better than the Volkswagen one because it's very bulky, the Volkswagen one, and it feels very cheap. So this is really nice, and obviously it's just on the Volkswagen Gator, so if you had the Caddy and liked this better, you could just put it on. That's quite nice as well. Parts and bits and bobs will be easy to find, and you can kind of do a bit of price matching if you want to see if it's cheaper to get the Volkswagen part or the Ford part. Comfortable. Seats are really comfy as well, which I like. They sit very high up. I can lower that down though. I think the seat was like at the top. I'd say it does feel a little bit quieter than the Courier. When I drove that, the Active model, I drove that recently. That was a 1.5 diesel Eco Blue. This is quieter. Definitely the engine is quieter as well, being the 2-litre TDI. We'll try it on some bumps, see how it is. Suspension's quite smooth, yeah. It's quite good, not bad. And that diesel raspiness is kept quite to a minimum, really. It's not proper noisy and rattly diesel as we used to get with them. And these are meant to be thrashed about and loaded with loads of stuff and worked hard, so this is exactly what it will do. Both Ford and Volkswagen engines, they will look after you generally if you look after them. Make sure you are keeping up with the regular servicing schedules and maintenance on the van. Really easy to drive with it being so torquey as well. And if you do want a petrol, you've got the Courier, which isn't that much smaller anyway, and the payload's very similar. Yes, it's really a lot nippier than the figures on paper suggest. You've got front and rear sensors as standard. Excellent. Really good. You don't get that on the Volkswagen. You don't even get rear sensors as standard. You have to go for the mid-trim, which is like 30 grand. With VAT though, that's the confusing thing as well. Ford don't include VAT in their prices, which I think should be the standard way of calculating it for commercial vehicles. But Volkswagen on their commercial vehicle side, everything includes VAT. So you can't really compare apples for apples. It's a little bit confusing. However, just to put it in perspective, including VAT, the Ford starts around £500 cheaper than the Caddy van. And this is the Tourneo Connect, but this one has got the 2-litre TDI 122 PS with the 7-speed dual clutch automatic. So let's have a try of this one. This being the 7-speed dual clutch automatic, also got the paddles for changing gears, which is really nice, especially on a van. Lots of time that gets overlooked, so I really like that. I like the fact that you've got height adjustable seatbelt. You had that on the van as well, which is great. And then of course you've got the Ford dials, but with the Volkswagen TFT screen in the middle. It's all very familiar, which I like. So let's go. Love this gear selector, very Volkswagen. It's a nice blend as well between the digital and the analog. So it's very like my Golf 7.5 actually. So we can test this out for power, see what it's like. And more people want auto vans now, just for that easy driving experience, day in, day out. I did like the manual. 7-speed DSG though is so smooth. They're really good with these. I think the diesel's even better than a petrol, to be honest. It's being torquey and just very seamless gear changes. You don't feel them so much. Yeah, it definitely feels nippier, this 122 PS model. Plenty of poke. It's not a sports car, but it's sufficient. And it doesn't have that big diesel classic chugginess, kind of rattliness. It doesn't have that. They've done well with deadening sounds. You can still hear the engine, but it's not like chugging away. It's quite nice. And you can actually go for the plug-in hybrid in the Tourneo as well. I think that's going to be such a great van slash car to go for. Great visibility out, as you'd expect. These A-pillars are really thin. They've got a quarter light as well, and then massive door mirrors so you can see out really well. It's not the quietest of cars, but it's what you expect for a van. And you put your foot down, and it picks up speed really well. This has surprised me actually. This DSG, really good, really smooth on the diesel. But I prefer a manual still, I think. But then this has been good. There's not really been one time where it's changed where I would have done anything different. And I've not even felt any obvious gear changes, which is unusual because normally I do, especially slower speeds. This is good. Okay, so inside the van, what's the interior like? Well, it's very van-like and it's very Volkswagen because it's based on the Caddy. These seats are very comfortable. These are the X-North seats. These are standard on the Trend model. Really nice. You can get them heated. The option for heated seats is only £100, which is excellent. Incredible value for money. But this one doesn't have them, unfortunately. You can also get the AGR approved comfort seat pack on the Trend and Limited model. On the Limited model, the heated seat pack is £150 because it includes the heated steering wheel as well. Ford are adding these features on for incredible value, much cheaper than the Caddy costs as well for their options, which is great. Obviously you've got, you know, hard plastic everywhere. However, I have to say it does feel a little bit a cut above the Courier. It's a little bit quieter as well when driving. Funnily enough, even on a Trend model, this base one, if you have an automatic transmission, it comes with a lever-wrapped steering wheel. Strange. I do prefer the leather one, which is standard on the Limited model, and you can get it heated, as I say. You do also have the front quick clear screen as standard, which is a nice Ford innovation, but most of it is very Volkswagen-like. The screen is a Volkswagen screen as well, with the slidey buttons and slidey climate controls. However, I've kind of got used to these and they're not too bad. You do also have really nice shortcuts down here as well. Really easy to access the climate with that shortcut, brings it up straight away. So it's very like the other Ford products that we've seen. It's actually very like the Courier because the Courier is taking clear inspiration from Volkswagen, even though that's not a Volkswagen car itself. You have a little bit of storage up here as well for some bits and bobs, and then you've got some very big sun visors as well. Heated mirrors are standard as well. Obviously a bit different in the Tourneo model, which includes more seats, more of a passenger car feel. You've got space here as well for bits of paperwork, and the floor is all rubber, which is really practical obviously to keep everything nice and clean. And this is the more premium feeling titanium model. This is all still the same plastic, but it looks nice, just doesn't feel the nicest, but it's all well screwed together. And then this is gloss black instead of the matte black, which actually blends in with the screen nicer. You've got a bit of chrome, just a few different touches to make it feel a little bit more posh and less van-like, more car-like, which is nice to see. This has obviously got the leather-wrapped steering wheel, which is much nicer. I don't mind that for a plastic steering wheel, but a leather-wrapped steering wheel wins every time for me. Very Golf-like in here, I have to say that. Cover that, it's a Golf. almost a Golf. You can see on this one, we got the 5-seat configuration, which are very clever because they can rock forward and everything, and a massive cavernous space. Obviously a bit more passenger-like, a bit more plush with carpeting and stuff. Oh, something I've just noticed there. This is not something I'd get mad about, by the way, which some people would. Don't know why. It's literally built in the same factory. You get Volkswagen mats with it. Lots of Volkswagen elements, as it is essentially the Caddy underneath with a little Ford twist to it. In terms of pricing on the Transit Connect range, the normal van starts at £23,500, excluding VAT. For this L2 model, it's £24,500. It's only an extra £1,000, which is really good value for money, actually. Going up to the Flex Cab model, it's over £25,000, and then the long base Flex Cab model is starting at £30,000. And the Tourneo starts at just under £34,000, including VAT. This, with VAT, works out to just over £28,000, which is £500 cheaper than the Caddy van. So it's a good value for money offering, and you get more standard equipment as well, which is excellent. Plug-in hybrid is out, it's just not here yet. That starts at around £30,000, excluding VAT. But that'll be a good option for many people, especially with such a great range that's offering. So before it absolutely rains down on me, what do I think of the Transit Connect range? Well, I think it's a really good, decent van. Feels a little bit more solid than the Courier, and is quite a flexible model, having passenger vehicle or normal van or the Flex Cab. Overall, quite a decent package, comfortable to drive, so really good option. Definitely a good van to bridge the gap between the Courier and the Custom from Ford. It fits in the range very well. Thanks again to Pi Motors for making this video possible. All of their links are in the description down below. Check them out if you're looking at getting one of these for yourself. I'd definitely go and test drive one, because they did surprise me. Our vans are meant to be quite boring, quite utilitarian, but these didn't feel so much, especially the higher specifications with things like the leather wrap steering wheel, and you can have heated seats and nice creature comforts that used to be exclusively for more premium saloons and SUVs are now across the board on family entry hatchbacks to vans, which is great. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next review.